Welcome to Deep Conversations Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Stewart, and I'm here with my man, Pun, the owner of Icebox. And, before we get started, I want you to just give the viewers, can you tell us who Pun is and where did you grow up?
Okay. Well, Pun is basically a Chinese kid that, grew up in New York City. So I grew up in Brooklyn. I was in Queens sometime, but majority of my upbringing was definitely in Brooklyn, New York. Mm-hmm. I wasn't, didn't grow up in no suburbs. I was straight in the mouth, in the hood, and stuff like that. So that's me. Basically, grew up in New York, then moved down to Delaware because I was getting into a lot of stuff. So my mom, just got me up out of there because I was getting into a lot of stuff. So got down to Delaware, I believe my freshman year in high school when I first moved down here. Then after, doing the high school thing, I went to Delaware State University. Mm-hmm. So, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So did you have any aspirations while you were in school, other than being an entrepreneur?
Oh, of course. I mean, there was a lot of things I wanted to be. I wanted to be a president, Mm-hmm. Certain things that as kids, you definitely wanted to do is just, I know other things I wanted to do was I wanted to open up my, the crazy thing about it, when I tell this to people, be laughing about it, but I was really serious about doing it. But I wanted to open up a Chinese soul food restaurant.
No, that's dope though.
Yeah.
Are you thinking, you can still do that though?
No. I could definitely still do it. I mean, I do it anyway because, like I said, my wife, she's Black. Mm-hmm. So, I definitly grew up with a lot of eating a lot of, soul food. So, it's like, I already, I know this stuff. So it's like, when I was younger, I was like talking about making like chitlins with chicken fried rice or some crazy stuff, or,
hey man, look,
pig feet or some, stuff that, people might say, oh, okay, that sounds good a little bit. But, I was just, thinking of it. But, my family originally was in the restaurant business. So we did the Chinese restaurants. I don't know how long you've been around, but probably might have seen some of our restaurants down here. But my mom is like retired out of that. So we don't have too much restaurants right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You now what is your business, Icebox?
So Icebox Limited is basically an idea that I basically came up with in college at Delaware State. I really wanted to do more of a luxury brand. So originally the thought was I was going to do a lot of clothing that had Swarovski crystals.
Gotcha.
So the actual image would have all Swarovski crystal around it, and it was more for how you call it, a luxury brand. Mm-hmm. Where the shirts would be like $300 something or $400, depending on how many crystals that you wanted on the actual shirt. Mm-hmm. We did like a few t-shirts, a few runs, and that was in, I want to say that was in like 07, 08.
Damn.
Yeah. And then life kicked in.
Yeah.
Had kids while I was in college. Had a daughter. Mm-hmm. And basically I had to put Icebox Limited on a back burner for a moment. I had to figure out life, and with a kid, and now with a wife and everything, we had to do what we had to do. So basically I relaunched Icebox Limited in, I want to say 2020. I relaunched it during Chinese New Year. Mm-hmm. which was the, how you call it? It was during that time, 2020 was the year of the rat. And what I did was I made an actual image. I had, a graphic designer that is basically, family, and just told them the idea that I wanted to do I wanted to do a relaunch, and I wanted to do it around, my culture, which was, Chinese, and, relaunched in Chinese New Year, which was sometime in February. Is usually when the New Year's is for Chinese New Year.
That's dope. That's dope. Now, how would you describe the consumer support system in Delaware? Because I know it's hard. New York, everybody has something. You know what I mean? And it's just everybody's moving in New York. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to shop and everything like that. So how do you feel that support system in Delaware is?
I mean, I do have a nice support system. What it is too is like one of those things where, I don't stress about having too many people wanting to support. I would love to have a lot of people support, but I wasn't that person that was trying to chase that. I just wanted to come out with something that was quality, something nice that people will wear. And, I do have a nice little following. It might not be crazy in Delaware, but I do have a nice following, that support me. Not only that, they also buy a lot of stuff that I actually come up with. And, I do have, like I said, I do have some of the support. I would love to get more support, but I'm not one of those person that be stressing about that, trying to get, I mean, you should know, it's one of those things where, we would love to have the support, but it's like one of those things where I don't stress about it. I just like to come out with good stuff, good quality stuff, and just put it out to the people that actually do support.
Yeah, because I think because we know we both got the clothing brands, but I feel like when you chasing that, I mean, you lose the value of, first of all, of self. You know what I mean? Because you chasing one thing, and then you're never gonna be happy.
Of course.
If you just just doing it, you going in that love. And I tell you, I've been telling my daughter ever since we, at the block party, we bought the shirts for her and her friend. I'm like, look, man, you got to take the shirt off, man. It's got to get washed, man. She's like, I love this shirt, man. I love the quality of the shirt. I'm like, I know, but it's got to get washed, man.
Oh, man, I greatly appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
That is definitely love. And, it's one of those things that this is the type of stuff that I like, that, the people that do support, that knows, okay, this is something that I like, this, the quality, the image and everything like that. A lot of people tend to just, come up with a simple t-shirt and then have simple sayings sometimes, or just, somewhat mediocre in a way.
Yeah, yep.
But I want it to be something different. And I know it's one of those things where I always ask my kids, I always ask my wife, hi, what do you think if I do this? And they'll tell me straight up, they keep it 100 and just tell me, hey, nah, I don't think you should do that. I don't think it's not time for that. So, I take heed to that and make sure that, I listen to, people around me, and not only people around me, but my support. People that do support tells me. Yeah. Now,
have you ever experienced any negative backlash from people of your culture and then other nationalities as a minority entrepreneur?
I mean, not just through Icebox, but growing up, in the restaurant stuff. Like I said, we grew up. I don't know if you know, but when we first moved down to Delaware, we was up in West Side. My mom had the shop over by Riverside.
Okay. Yep.
So, matter of fact, it was the only Chinese restaurant in Riverside. We was like the only particular, restaurant that was on Governor Prince.
Yep.
You know, everything else was up more, like Market Street, stuff like that. But we was the only people there, and you know, we definitely did have you know, negativity. But I think what it was is just, you know, our culture. You know, a lot of times when my mom used to run the store, and let's say if I wasn't there, you know, she'll get a lot of people that come in there, you know, act up and stuff like that. And then when I'm usually there, I'm usually cool with everybody in the neighborhood, because not only that, I was able to communicate. Like a lot of people always say, like, yo, you sound black in a way. And the crazy thing about it, right? And I would ask people, like, you know, how do I sound black? But how do black people sound? You get what I'm saying? That's what I would tell people, like, you know, but you know, it's the upbringing too. And, you know, not only that, went to school with the people in the neighborhood. So I met a lot of people. Yeah, you know, there was negative stuff, because you got to think about it. My mom, she was not, I guess, she knew English, but she was like broken English.
It was kind of broken, yeah. That's how my in-laws, you know, my wife is Spanish, but my in-laws, they have that. You can understand it, but it's the broken English, Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, of course, you know, you always have some type of negativity. Same thing with the clothing brand. I mean, you're gonna get negativity, but I tend to block all that stuff out. Just keep it pushing and keep it moving.
Yeah, because that is, again, once you start letting that stuff get to you, man, it's your brand is basically done, because now you're gonna be chasing that kind of love. And we doing it just, and you can tell, you know, when people love what they do, because they take time to do it. You know, everything is precise. There's certain things that there's always a story behind something that they do, that they put on the clothing. Now, what was your if there was one thing as a businessman that you think you could improve on, what would that be?
As a businessman, what I can improve on would probably be more. See, right now, a lot of the stuff that I have right now, which is the clothing wise, I would love to outsource and probably, you know, be able to communicate with a lot of more people in other countries that does a lot of clothing. Right now, I'm dealing with some people in China. And another thing is communication. I think that's one major thing in business, is having that particular communication. Mind you, you know, I speak, sometimes my dialect is different from what is the regular dialect. See, my family came from, if you look on the map and try to compare it to the United States, we're like the south of China. We're like Florida, you know, we're down there. So that particular area has a different dialect.
Got you.
And you know, the main dialect that China speak is Mandarin. That is the main thing. Unfortunately, I'm not fluent in that right there.
Right.
Because I'm more fluent to my hometown of where my parents came from. And a lot of the, you know, manufacturers, you know, it's hard to kind of communicate, but we worked around it and try to, you know, everything what we do is more through text or emails or stuff like that. You know, they can use the actual translator, which I can also do the same thing. You know, that Google translator, and be able to translate with people. But I think that was more the one thing I would say would be probably communication.
Once it's when I was looking at some of the stuff, it's to me, it's interesting because your brand is unique. You know, like you said, there's not really, you don't really see, you know, and it draws your eyes. You know what I mean? Because you got the, obviously the Icebox, but then you got the, you know, the ice crystals around and stuff like that. So when my daughter had it, you know, my daughter came down the street, I knew where she was going to, you know, to get the shirt. So
got you.
When they came back, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, she was like, "You like the shirt?" I'm like, "Yeah." But then, you know, she walked in, I'm like, damn, that shirt did. I said, damn, that shirt did look kind of nice. You know what I mean? It just
Thank you, thank you.
the whole thing about it was like, so like I said, you could tell that you know, you have a passion for it and you put your time and, you know, and your energy into it, and it shows. So now, who inspired you to take that leap into your Icebox brand?
I would definitely say my wife.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was definitely she was the first, and not only that, she was the one that just said, yeah, keep on, do it, and it's one of those things where I have other businesses, and it's like, I wanted to kind of get away from the business that I had right now and start on this particular new one. And it was one of those things, you could say it was more like a bucket list type of thing. Like, I came out with a particular clothing brand and I wanted to be successful with it. And then, that she was definitely my particular rock to help me, move it forward. And, I'm grateful for that. And then not only that, the kids, they love it, as you see with your kids, they love it. And, I greatly appreciate that. Like, that's what keeps me going. Yep. Seeing all these kids and other people that liking the brand and just loving it, and that's what motivates me to keep on going. There was times where I was like, oh man, I'm putting so much money out, the headaches with getting samples and finding good manufacturers. That's a lot of things that people fail to realize is finding the right manufacturer to do your stuff. And it's like, it's kind of hard. Like I did everything, like the whole t-shirt. What was the other thing where a lot of people do, like the drop ship, where you can actually, have a design and then, have, somebody else make it and then send it off for you.
And then and it don't, sometimes it don't come out like you wanted it to come out. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what me and my wife was going through in the beginning. And it was like, you get excited about a brand and it's like, I got these ideas, I want to put it down on these shirts and all this. You excited and you understand the business assets, but you're really not thinking about those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if I got this and I send it to you, you should know how to put it on there. It's and me and my wife had to take a step back at first, because I'm like, it got frustrating. Because it was, oh my gosh, man. I'm
put like this, you're gonna go through a lot of those, especially in the beginning. And put like this, I went through a lot of going through what you're explaining and spending a lot of money on that. So it's one of those things where, like now, when somebody come up to me and they ask me, hey, what's going on? Who do you use? I love to help people, but then I tell people, you gotta go and do this on your own, and because like I said, it took me time to do it. So it's like, I'm giving people a lot of the information, which, sometimes I'd be like, damn, I should have charged them for that information, because now it's, but like I said, I love to help people in that aspect. But when people, what, let's say somebody just out of the blue called you that you knew for a long time, but never been, but then want me to kind of explain how, who do I go through? And I'll be like, I would love to give you that information, but it's gonna cost you, because it costed me.
Yeah. And then at the same time, I'm giving you this information and you walking off and you thinking this shit about to be easy.
Yeah, facts.
Don't think nothing that you see. And first of all, I'm gonna jump on it, we're gonna get back. But why do people think all of a sudden, because they see you with a brand, that they think you got all type of damn money out the damn wazoo, man? What the hell is that, man?
I think what it the crazy about it, I think that any entrepreneur goes through that. Like, especially, like I said, people, I guess, it's perception, like, things that they think that but they don't see the ins and out of what you're going through. Like, there was times that I probably maxed out my credit card to try to get,
to keep it going.
To keep it going. And, there was times where, I probably be late on some payments here and there, but, I just kept it pushing. A lot of people don't go through that type of trials and tribulations. They rather get the answer from you and think that, it's going to be easy, but it's not, it's not easy.
No. And it's see, I like having these kind of conversations, especially when I can relate to people, you know what I mean, so much.
Yeah,
because a lot of times when you're in these positions and you're telling people stuff like that, they can lend, their words, but it's different when you can talk to somebody who's actually went through something. It's like,
yes,
like you just said, when you said this ain't easy, in my head, everything went through my head of like
what you went through.
Man, it's like, man, there was days I was like, man, fuck the hell with this, man. Like, this stuff, you know what I mean? Because like you said, with the money part, it's like, I want to push this out and and it's kind of the same thing that I was doing with the podcast. I started the podcast a year ago, and I was a little nervous about it. And like you, my wife was the one that pushed me into it. Cause I'm like, are people going to like my conversations? Are people going to be interested in what, the kind of stuff I got to say? So all those things go in your head. So it's like, but once, it was helpful. She pushed me. But once it started, I'm like, can't stop now. Cause it's like your baby now. You know what I mean? You can't, you fall in love with it. Now, what have you, since launching your clothing brand, what lessons have you learned about yourself?
Wow. Shit. That's a good one. Lesson that I learned myself that what I learned that is I learned what people want and what people need. A lot of the items that I have. So Icebox, a lot of our particular accessories and stuff like that are 420 friendly.
Okay.
Like basically our bags, our book bags, all are smell proof. I know our duffel bag and our book bag, we have combination locks on. So
that's unique as hell. That's dope as shit.
Yeah. So basically, it's learning what people need in their everyday life. Of course, you got a lot of people that smoke, but they don't want other people knowing what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So imagine you carrying something, but you know how sometimes, damn, he got that gas on him.
Man, I just walked.
Smell it on him.
I just walked past somebody. I drove past somebody, and they were walking up the street, and the window was down. I said, "Damn, man, that whole block smell like."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, I took something that I thought that people would need, and which was a lot of our stuff is like I said, geared to more 420 friendly stuff. A lot of our candles, our sprays, our bags. Not only that, we have grinders, LED trays. I even got this new product out called the Icebox Bing Bong, which is like a little small bottle. I think I have it here. I'm in actually the office right now with a lot of the products that I have that I can actually show you right here. So this right here, we calling this the Icebox Bing Bong. This right here. It might be something that you don't know about, but it's something that's simple. So basically, is people can actually put the mouth part of their joint into here, light it, put it in here,
and smoke it out of there.
Yeah, but they don't even have to put their mouth on it. You just squeeze the bottle, and it's like a shotgun. So remember how I don't know if you smoked back in the days where they used to flip the joint, the L,
yeah,
and then they blow it, and then it comes out of that. This is basically it, but without going through all of that, putting it in your mouth. So you basically put your finger on it, and it just come out like a stream of smoke.
See, but this is what I'm saying. This is how, for me, this is confirmation for me, and I'm gonna give it to you that I know your brand is gonna work because, again, we sat here in this interview and we talked about all the stuff you're going through, all the frustrations and stuff like that. But your mind, you're so in tune to the people that your mind, you can't turn it off now. You know what I mean? It's no matter what you do, you throughout the day, no matter if you're having a bad day, that is going through your mind. And something like that, don't nobody got that. You see what I'm saying? So you're like I said, that's how I know you're gonna win, because you are allowing yourself different avenues of ways that people can come in and connect with you through just in your mind. That's what a brand is. You have built that brand person for you. You know what I mean? And now it's only a matter of time. And you watch. It's gonna be a lot of people coming your way, man.
Oh man, thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of
people. Coming from your mouth, that right there just definitely put a smile on my face and just like you said, giving me confirmation to just keep on going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I am definitely not a hater of nobody. I want to see everybody. And now, we've seen each other numerous times and just passing and different things that we've done in events. So it's like,
there's always love.
So it's like, for me, it's family now. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want you to win. I want to make sure everything that you do is up here, and everybody sees you as that. So where can they see you? Where can they find you on social media? And do you have a website that everybody can reach you at?
Yeah. Right now, social media, they can at Icebox Limited. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And website is www.iceboxlimited.com. We're gonna actually revamp, because since we did the particular grand opening for the pop-up, what we did was a lot of the stuff that we have in hand right now, we made it exclusive for the pop-up shop. So you won't find it on the actual website. You will find it sooner or later. It's just I wanted to make certain things exclusive so I could have people come out and get it. Like I said, you won't find the luggage. I have Icebox luggage. I have 28-inch luggage carrier that also have TSA lock on those. I have a 20-inch carry-on one. Those are the ones that you could actually carry on the actual plane. That also has a TSA lock on those. But yeah, there's gonna be some stuff that they might not see that I made exclusive just for the pop-up shop. But in the next couple of weeks, I will make sure that I start having a lot of these stuff online for people from different areas. Because like I said, I've been having people, hit me up from Florida. I even had ordered to ship out in Alaska.
Damn. But that's perfect right there, Icebox, man. You out there in Alaska, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying. I'm trying my best, and that, when I saw that order come in, I'm like, good Lord, I gotta be doing something right. People coming, hitting me up from way down there. So I definitely, like I said, I love the support, and I'm just keep on grinding.
Now I just had somebody tell me today, and I'm gonna give it to you. They said no matter how tough things get for what you're doing, just always remember that somebody is watching. You know what I mean? And somebody, and you may think, dang, it's like, I had these slow days like this. It may have peaked for a little bit, but then it's these slow days. They always watching you, and it's whether they hating on you or whether they want to see you when they watching, regardless. You know what I mean? So yeah. What I like to always say is, like, my haters are my motivation too.
Hey, you know what it is? It gives you confirmation. Because if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
No, that's what I see, and that's what I said. I just had my Instagram hacked, man. I was so man. When I said,
serious?
Yeah. I mean, I went to get in it. I went to get in it to put it was a post out. I did an interview with Randall Law, and it was what, a week and a half or so ago, or 2 weeks, and I tried to get into my Instagram so I could, share it over there, and it said your login has changed. And I'm like, and I tried to get, and I'm trying to get into stuff like that, and then people started texting me saying, man, why are you sending Bitcoin stuff? I'm like, oh my God, I've been hacked. So I can't get back into it, and it had me hot for a while. You know what I mean? Because I still can't get in, but man, I appreciate you, man, for jumping on this podcast with me, man. It was a blessing. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, no. It's a blessing for you even to have me here. I greatly appreciate the exposure. And like I said, I'm going to just keep on grinding, keep on moving. And you the same way, like I said, I see what you guys were doing, positivity and all of that stuff. And I see where you guys are going with it, and I like it. It's gonna take some time for y'all to keep on elevating, but all we got is time. Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
All we got is time. It's just knowing how to manage it, just keep it moving, and just making sure that you just every time you put something out, there's always a home run.
Yeah.
So, but I greatly appreciate it. Like I said. Whenever we get a chance, man, I would definitely love to sit down and bust it up even more with you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come, and that's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna catch you one day, man. I got the times and stuff you said, so
yeah,
I'm gonna come down there because I want some Icebox. I want some Icebox clothing, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely have it. Like I said, we definitely got a lot of exclusive stuff that is not on the website yet. But we'll be on it soon. Like I said, I just wanted to make it more exclusive to people to just come, because I love for them to come and see a lot of the artwork, even some of the first time pieces that, like the first thing that I came with. I don't know if you know, but how we really got off was because of the Year of the Rat. And I don't know if you've seen the actual shirt that I'm talking about, but the shirt that I made it had Tekashi 6ix9ine on it. It's a cartoon version. And it was just so happens, it was called, it was the Year of the Rat, and everybody know him as a rat now. And the funny backstory about the whole situation is, like, when I was sitting down talking to my graphic designer and telling him, this is what I wanted, and he came up with the idea, and I was like, yo, that sounds dope. and if a lot of people don't know the backstory, 2020 was the Year of the Rat. That was the same year that Tekashi 6ix9ine got out. And a lot of people don't know, Tekashi 6ix9ine was born in, I believe, 96, which in Chinese zodiac thinks is also the Year of the Rat.
Dang.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, actual Chinese zodiac, is the rat. So, but you got to understand, if you know the actual history, if you know the whole history of all the Chinese zodiacs and what they have done, rats are smart. They're very smart. New York City, we got a lot of rats, not only just in the sewers, but in the streets too. So one of those things where people that has that particular zodiac sign, they're smart. But it was just funny, because when I was doing all the research about it and then learning the year that he was born, I'm like, if anybody knew, his zodiac sign, they would have known that he was a rat. And,
and I wouldn't see. That's good.
That's deep.
Funny,
when I remember, I was like, shit. I'm like thinking about it, and that's the year that I actually launched, was 2020, which was the Year of the Rat. So it was just funny when I did the research and then learned the year he was born, and then I actually checked out his zodiac sign. I was like, oh, shit, he was a rat. So
he was born a rat, right?
Yeah, he was born a rat. But it was just one of those things that I like to tell people this story, because a lot of people just don't know the history of of the whole that. They just remember Tekashi with the
Every
colorful
time I see
hair.
that, man, I'm gonna think of that now, man.
Yeah. Because you're gonna be like, yo, Tekashi 6ix9ine Zodiac sign was the rat.
That's
so
crazy.
People knew it, they already know that he was a rat. That was deep,
That
right?
Crazy.
But don't worry, if you come up to the thing, you'll see the shirt that I did, because basically what I did was also put some of our first launch of all our particular Icebox stuff.
Okay.
I made sure to put them up on the wall, even some other pieces that I basically got local artists to paint for me, basically artwork commission for Icebox. I even had something that my daughter did, so I love what my daughter did. It was crazy because I was like, I need to have my kids. My oldest daughter, Naya, who came, she's going to Temple now, but I told her that I wanted her to do something, and she did it in a day. I'm talking about one day. And when I saw it, I was like, wow. Almost brought some tears.
It's something too, man, when you can see the creativity in your children, man.
Yes.
That's like the ultimate joy, man.
Yeah. What? I was like, when I saw it, I was looking at it like I kind of stunned. Looking at it, I was like, yo, this is like some real art. And she did it in one day.
Because see, and that goes back again to what we was talking about, where even when we ain't thinking people watching, she watched it and she understood exactly what she probably had that idea in her mind already. That's why. Yep. That's why it took her just like that. She's like, all right, I've been waiting for him to ask me too.
Yeah, because like I said, when I looked at it, I was like, yo, this is some old professional did. Yep. Remember the artist that, what's his name? The white guy that used to be on television painting
with the fro, Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross. Yo, it would remind me on some old Bob Ross where she made these nice little trees in the back.
Word.
Yeah, you like this. When you come down, you see it. You'll see all the artist name and everything. When you see it, you're gonna be like, yo, I know what Pun was talking. This shit is Naya.
And you said her name is Naya?
Naya A.
That's my daughter's name, Naya too, man.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that's crazy. Man. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I guess great minds think alike.
You ain't lying, boy. Word. All right, man. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, well, I appreciate you having me on the show. And like I said, I can't wait for it to release. And
can't stop, man.
Yeah, can't stop. Won't stop.
Yeah.
Like you said.
You're on YouTube, baby.